And good morning. Welcome to another episode of A Case for Travel Tuesdays. Today I have as my special guest Beverly Brown from Chesapeake Travel from Maryland. However, she is not in Maryland today. She is in beautiful, sunny Costa Rica. So how are things there, Beverly?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's summer here in Costa Rica because we're on, further south from North America. And it's the highs are in the low 90s and the
Oh,
lows
perfect.
are in the mid 70s. It's beautiful here.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's
Isn't it
beautiful.
summer all the time there though?
It is, but you get so in the off season, it's their rainy season.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is the dry season, where just a couple months ago was the rainy season.
Cool. Cool. So this is exciting. And now you are a Mexico and
Yeah,
Jamaica
I'm staying.
specialist, right?
Yes,
Mexico and Jamaica
ma'am.
specialist. So what draws you to those countries?
Well, Jamaica number one is on my list. I grew up at the beach on the Atlantic Ocean side, and I grew up listening to reggae music. And as an adult, the first trip I went to Jamaica, I just fell in love with the island, the beautiful, lush green of the island, the warmth, friendliness of the people, and the food. Like, I love Jamaican food. It is so flavorful, so delicious. Um, yeah, when you're down there in the islands, you just have to try everything and not be afraid,
I'm
except for
excited because,
habaneros.
yeah, the heat, right?
Be
I'm,
afraid of the habaneros or the
yes,
Scotch
and
bonnet.
I have not been to Jamaica yet, but plans will be taking me there in October. Let's hope all goes well. So I'm excited to experience it. I have not spent a lot of time in the Caribbean. I'm a European gal, so I'm excited to experience some new countries and new cultures.
And you are the yin to my yang.
Yes, yes. It's a good compliment, right?
Absolutely.
So to Beverly, you've been traveling since October 20, like almost nonstop. What has
Yeah.
compelled you to keep traveling during these times?
Well, fortunately, I've had opportunity, which I know is something that your government doesn't allow right now. But I had clients that were willing to go. So in October, we had a 22 person group, 21 ladies and one male gentleman. He happened to be my escort, uh,
Okay.
my husband. That the girls were like, we need to go somewhere. They
Mhm.
had been home with their kids through the spring, home with their kids through summer, balancing work, and they were just needing a break. And then, of course, when school started back up in the fall, their kids were still home. And so they were like, we just need a break. So that was in October. And then I went to Cancun in November, shortly after the Jamaica trip. And mostly because I want to see and experience the COVID protocols. What is happening? What do you have to do to get places? How are they handling it elsewhere in the world? And, what is the fear factor level? Because
Mhm.
I know you're in Canada, I'm in the US. And, when you watch the news, which so many people watch mainstream media, it's just this fear factor of doom and gloom. And I mean, I literally just saw something with Dr. Fauci this morning, that he's not even eating out at a restaurant. I get it. You're
Wow.
80, Dr. Fauci. I think he's had his first vaccination shot. I don't think he's had his second yet. But yeah, like, he's not even going out to eat. And I just think that fear level that we're putting into the world is just horrible. We need to break that stigma. Is it a real thing? Is it bad for some people? Absolutely. But I feel like my job is the travel professional, a travel advisor, not just an agent who does a transaction, but truly an advisor, getting out there and seeing what it is and being able to talk my clients through what's going to happen, what they can expect, what do you have to do for that country to enter. So for Jamaica, when we first went, we had to upload our COVID tests and
Yes.
get with our travel authorization form. That was challenging for the country. And so they made some adjustments. So now you don't have to necessarily upload the COVID test. You still have to get your travel authorization. And then the COVID information is supposed to be verified by the airlines at the airport. I've seen it verified and I've seen it not verified for Jamaica flights. Whole nother conversation that could be had. And then like coming here to Costa Rica, we had to do the same thing. Get your COVID test 72 hours prior. So helping people understand where they can go, what's in their neighborhood to get it. And then 24 hours prior, you apply for your travel verification, travel authorization, health pass. Everybody's calling it something different. And in that, you actually upload your COVID negative results. And Costa Rica requires a specific type of travel insurance, you know, so making sure to understand that. So one of the members of my group actually on this trip, there's 7 ladies, and one of the members said, oh, I have travel insurance through American Express where I bought my airline ticket, or I purchased the insurance with the airline ticket. I said, okay, however, it's not going to be adequate.
No.
So she did some research and was like, oh, you're right, I do need something else. And so very easily we were able to get her the extension of travel insurance and the rider to coincide with what Costa Rica is requiring. And basically it's like $2,000 for lodging and some upgraded medical expense. So from maybe 50,000 to 100,000. Like I forget the actual numbers, but it was very specific. And so, you know, if you're the person who used to always plan your trips and you don't understand and know that these things are happening throughout the world and you want to try and come here, like you may find yourself at the airport being turned away and that no one to help you. So into another part of the discussion, like I really think us as travel advisors are going to be so needed as the world starts to move again, spin again. And, you know, we're going to be facilitators of people getting out and about. And, you know, it's our job to know and understand this. So here we are in Costa Rica. 2 weeks ago, I was in Hawaii. Please don't hate me.
I do.
And
I felt like oceans and mountains, so I've got Vancouver behind me today. So that's what I've got.
I love it. And so same thing with Hawaii. So I live in the US. Hawaii is a US state, but guess what? They have their own set of travel restrictions. And so I think Hawaii is going to be a real good destination for the rest of 21 into 22. And so again, what's Hawaii's protocols? Test 72, Aloha Safe Travel website, upload your documents, get your QR code. So all these things that, you know, if you don't know to do them, when you can buy the flight, you can buy the plane ticket, but when you get to the airport, if you don't have the proper documentation, you're taken immediately to a quarantine. So you go to your hotel with a one-time use key and you're not allowed out for 10 days.
And I agree with you that, you know, moving forward, people are really going to need travel advisors because right now every country is different. I do think key to getting things back online and moving forward and to establish consumer confidence is to have a global perspective, a global rules to follow that makes sense, because right now you just don't know. I had read a post on social media the other day. Someone was flying from mainland Ecuador to the Galapagos, and she thought the same thing, that she had the right test done, and they refused her at the airport. No, Galapagos specifically needs testing done from a certain facility in order to go to the island. So she was turned away.
Yeah, Hawaii, same thing. Hawaii has their list of places that is acceptable to get your test. And if it's not from that facility, it doesn't matter whether it was negative or not. Like if it wasn't from this list of places that they've decided is what they're going to allow, it's like you didn't even have the test, negative or not. So yeah, it's
they won't
really
even accept it. Yeah, and it was something because
really
where she had brought the test from, it had been known for producing fraudulent document COVID tests. So yeah, I look forward to when we have something
Yeah,
something global for all the countries, that everybody's following the same standards and the same protocols.
for
That
the
would be
most
very
part,
welcome.
yeah. That would be great if everybody did it the same way. Will that happen?
Mhm.
Probably not. But like tomorrow, our group is scheduled at 2 o'clock to depart for our COVID test, because all 7 of us have to get tested so we can go home on Saturday.
Mhm.
And yeah, and so even here in Costa Rica, like you've got Mexico, and then as you come down through Central America, Costa Rica is kind of at the bottom part of Central America before you get into South America. And even down here, it's no mask, don't enter the store. So
Mhm.
when when you're shopping and when you're in a store, to same thing, get seated at your meal table, you wear your mask. Walking up and down the street, not so much, but in Honolulu, you wore your mask walking down the street in Waikiki.
Mhm.
You wore your mask until you were like situated on the beach, and
Mhm.
everyone
Mhm.
was. So, and right now it's mostly locals. It's the people in Hawaii they're grateful to be able to experience their island without all of the tourists, but they also understand that they need those tourism dollars, and if you're not afraid to go, they're very happy to have you.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
it was really wild to see people so grateful. Jamaica was the same way. They were so happy to see us. So happy.
Yeah, and it's anything that I've seen or webinars I've been watching, the protocols that the hotels have in place and the airports have in place, they're doing everything that they can to make guests comfortable and safe and welcome. They're just so happy to have us back. So
Yeah.
looking forward to when we can do that again.
And sadly, on the flip side, and not to be political, but it seems like our governments are trying to do everything they can to stifle that. It's like, stop already.
Yes.
Let us
Yeah.
go.
Everybody's very frustrated. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And that's, one of the many things we have learned over the last year is that travel is a privilege and not a given. Can you expand on that?
So yeah, with travel being a privilege, I never realized the value of a passport, especially, as a US citizen.
Mhm.
Travel is a privilege. And even now in the States, travel was becoming a privilege just to go from state to state. Like if you left your region, there was rules you had to follow. Like even some of the individual states were requiring things. And to see that happen in our country was wild, like truly wild. But as far as it being a privilege, I think it's the right of every person on the planet to be able to travel, to go see the world
Mhm.
and the globe, it and to then have a government telling you you have to have this documentation, you have to have this documentation, you have to do that, and then all the things. That is how travel has become a privilege, and not even from a financial status, from a logistical status. Travel is truly now a privilege.
Mhm. Now, with the financial, you touched on that. Do you think that moving forward, travel is going to become for the elite again, that it is going to get so expensive after a little while after reopening for the businesses to recoup their dollars?
I'm not sure. And I think what will happen is it will have that supply and demand shift.
Mhm.
So when you've got plenty of supply and no demand, prices drop. Once people are comfortable and moving again, cruise ships are sailing again, the demand is going to eventually rise again. And so the supply cost is going to be higher. And so it's a supply and demand thing, not so much um, a financial status thing. Will I'm hesitant to say that I don't think resorts and places and hotels are going to price gouge for a while,
Mhm.
but who knows? We'll see what happens. Um, but right now they need our dollars. Like
Mhm.
some of these countries that they rely on a tourism dollar for their entire community. And so without being able to receive those dollars, they're stifling,
Yeah,
and
they're
it's sad.
devastated.
Yeah,
they're
they are
devastated.
devastated. Yeah.
And that's the next couple series of blogs I have coming out speak directly to communities that have lost all their income because of the loss of tourism. That was the only way that they had to survive. So yeah, that part of it really breaks my heart.
And I will tell you, here in Costa Rica, there's a lot of people that are living here for extended periods of time. You know, people that have left the US. I have seen some Canadians that probably have been down here a while and probably won't come back for a
No.
while. But yeah, you know, just here at the place that we're staying at Nosara Paradise, there's a gentleman, John. He lives in Florida. He comes here for 5 months of the year. And I'm like, but you live in Florida, but I love Costa Rica. Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting. And then some people have actually taken what was an investment property that they normally would, you know, rent for a week, 2 weeks at a time, and they've actually taken that property back, and they're living here full time. We met a few folks like that out and about in the town area just down the street.
Wow. Yeah, and I can hear the birds chirping. They sound beautiful.
I have to tell
beautiful.
You, this is so wild. We're literally in the jungle. Like, there's a path through the jungle that takes you down to the beach, or you can walk the road. There are, I believe they call them howler monkeys.
Oh, yes.
And they literally howl. And I'm like, that sounds like a freight train or a big truck. We're nowhere near a street. What is that noise? It was the monkeys this morning. And then there's some iguanas. There's these pasotes. They're like almost like a ring-tailed cat. I think they look like an anteater and a raccoon had a baby. And this is the animal that they created. And just the trees, the foliage is so beautiful. It's lush and green. And then we go down to the beach every evening at sunset, because we're on the Pacific side of Costa Rica here in Nosara. And, you know, we watch the sun melt into the Pacific, and it's just lovely. Like, to be able to escape the reality of everything, even for the length of time of sunset, is just wonderful.
And the sounds are something too, like, that are such an experience when you travel. Even for us going to Texas, because Texas is one of our favorite places to go, the cicadas. The first time I heard them, we got out of the car and listened, and we thought a power transformer was going to explode. I thought, you know, our friend, what is this noise in the trees? And she's, oh, those are cicadas. And I'm like, okay, we don't have to hit the deck. Nothing's going to explode. You know, those are fun things about travel. Yeah.
And then there was, was it the 17-year cicada? It was about 15. They should be coming back around again. So there's this one cicada that emerges every like 17 to 20 some years, and even louder than probably what you heard. Yeah, it's incredible.
Wow. And you never see them. You never see them. You can just hear them. The trees are alive with them.
And then you see their little shells as they've shed their exoskeleton.
I did see one dead one. I took a picture of it. Yeah. Ugly little things.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they kind of look like aliens.
Yeah. So the core of this show is the power of connection, human connection, and travel. So how have you seen travel affect the lives of your clients?
I mean, from a health and wellness standpoint, number one, because all my friends that I know, people that I've traveled with me, we've spent a year at home. Like, we're coming up on the year anniversary, and again, stuck at home with the kids, online, homeschooling, home working. And it's just, to me, it's just not normal human behavior to be so secluded. And it was interesting because one of the girls, we had embraced one of the staff members in a hug, had to ask, was it okay first? And she's like, that's the first time I've hugged someone not in my family in a year.
Wow.
Like, so that human connection and touching people's lives whether you're traveling or not, but especially now during traveling, it's what used to be, oh, the little magpies or mockingbirds, they've started. Sorry, I got
That's
that.
okay.
Um,
You're forgiven.
but yeah, but now it's our human behavior has been adjusted in this last year. Shaking hands, embracing people was a normal greeting and way that you went throughout your day. I mean, I'm a hugger. We hug in hospitality. And so to not feel comfortable doing that is just weird. And so sometimes getting away from your environment through traveling and coming to, paradise, it just kind of recharges you. And most of the folks that have been traveling with me this year, that they're just like, we need to get away.
Yeah, I know that's something that I miss is hugging and just getting together with people, conferences and
Yeah.
sharing ideas. And I really do miss that. I really do
I
miss
mean,
that.
just this simple thing is having dinner with your friends right now
Mhm.
is such a challenge that, yeah, it's wow, like breaking bread. We need sustenance in our lives. And it's like, can we do this? Are we allowed? And then again, the government says, no, you cannot. You
Mhm.
can't have more than 6 people at a table. So what do you do with a family that has mom and dad and 5 kids? Grandma who lives at home.
Mhm.
You can't go out to eat dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this past weekend was my birthday, and we went out for dinner because the restaurants just reopened again here in Alberta, and invited, I call her my other mother. She's like a mother to me. And she came along and said, well, can we have another person from the table? But she lives alone, so she is allowed to go and meet with people. And it was so wonderful to have another person at our table. It was just a
Oh
small
yeah.
road trip outside of Calgary, an hour drive, but even those road trips are super special. So
Yeah. And what a different meaning this year than last year's birthday.
mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
might have taken that little trip and that meal with people for granted last year. And this year you
Mhm.
just don't. It's it's really nice. I want to flip around real quick for you. Just
Oh,
kind of,
that's cool.
yeah, this is a little micro pool.
So cute.
Yeah, it's a
You're all
lovely
by
little.
yourself. Is that because it's the morning?
Well, we finished our yoga at 10:30 and the girls went down to the farmers market. And so I was like, "Oh, I'm going to hop online for a little bit. You guys go ahead and I'll catch up with you when you get back." So then we're going to go down the beach. So yeah, but
Awesome.
there's 2 ladies here. They're going to the Spanish Institute, the Nosara Spanish Institute. So their jobs have brought them here to do a deep dive into learning Spanish for their employment. Very interesting. One girl works for the Ronald McDonald House, and then the one lady is a deputy coroner in Texas somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they're here for a couple months.
Cool. I
Mm-hmm.
have my friend in England who she's been faithfully watching every week said that she's going to hug a random person on the street when she's set free again.
Absolutely.
I totally
Absolutely.
understand that. So
And
Beverly, go ahead.
I was going to say to a friend in England, I can't wait to come across the pond and visit. My husband and I were in the airport in JFK last March, 90 minutes to board our flight to go into Heathrow. And the president had come on the news banning travel from Europe. And there we were at the airport trying to figure out, like, can we go? Can we not go? What does that mean? If we get over there, are we not allowed to come back? It was crazy. And that in a couple weeks, that will be 1 year ago that happened. And so he never got his Make-A-Wish trip to London and Paris yet. We've got to get that rescheduled. And I'm so looking forward to the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, wow. So Beverly, you're a fun gal and you really don't hold back. So leave us off with a funny story from your travels.
Oh,
Do you have a humorous one?
it depends on your type of humor because I've got some crazy situations that have happened. And even just on this trip. So I also specialize in group travel. So herding cats is something that comes very natural to me. I don't know why, I don't know where I got that gift, but I've got that gift. And logistics and just getting people all on the same page. Well, as we were about to depart for this trip and head up to the airport the night before, because our flight was so early, a friend of mine texted me that one of the girls was at the bar and she accidentally got day drunk.
Oh,
So
no.
I had to go scoop her up out of the restaurant and bar, take her to her house, pack her suitcase, and keep her in my vehicle and get her to the airport together. So,
Hey, girl.
hey,
How are you?
I am good. So here's another crazy thing. One of my friends from my hometown in Chincoteague, Virginia, is here in Costa Rica, and just popped in.
You didn't plan that.
What? No, it
Did you-
wasn't planned.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't planned. I know he always comes down in February, and I just didn't know how long he would be here for. So he was actually here at this property. He introduced me to the owner of this property because he's been coming here for years.
Mhm.
And he's an hour away now. So they came down here today just so we could hang out, which I was great.
Awesome.
It's just such a small world, you know.
Mhm.
We talked to people that are staying here that live or lived in the same area that we do. You know, when we were on the path to hike up Diamond Head, there was a lady that went to the college that's 20 minutes down from my house. Like, it is a small world.
It is. It is.
Small world.
Can't wait to get back out there. Well, I will let you.
I can't wait to get you to Jamaica.
I know. No, that's going to be a blast. That's going to be a
It'd be
blast.
awesome.
Well, I will let you get back to your
Okay.
paradise in Costa Rica. Thank
you.
you for chatting with us today.
Absolutely. Charlotte,
right.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right. Enjoy. Bye.
Bye.